Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Donaram.com podcast. I'm joined here tonight again with Beau, and as I got home tonight and I was kicking back, getting settled in from the workday, I grabbed a nice, crisp, refreshing Busch Light, and nothing really hits the spot like a Busch Light, and what hits the spot even more is a good video game. And in particular, I've been kind of interested in Kingdom Hearts since, Beau, you were having such a great time with Kingdom Hearts 3, and I really realized that, God, that came back out when we were in high school and whatnot, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2002.
And I just realized that that's an RPG that I've never really known the story about, nor I've really even attempted to, but with so much hype with 3, it made me realize that it's a pretty big deal of a game. Like up there, I would dare say, with the AAA titles now. Not just a niche community of JRPGers, but a lot more broad. And what I was wondering if you could elaborate what the story of Kingdom Hearts 1 is. Because whenever I listen to people give the lore or try and put the story into some sort of context as a summary, I'm lost quickly. Like it's a game that I really feel like needs to have a better explanation, at least towards me, so that I can actually kind of get it. So where does it even start?
Well, what I would like to start with today is who we would wish sponsored this podcast.
Oh my God, you're right. When I'm outside and trying to put a post up, I can't really just expect it to stay there. And that's where the good people at Quickcrete really come in, and they help you up. It's not concrete, Beau. It's quick, and it dries in about 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, you've got a straight post, and you can do just about anything with that. It's level. It's great.
And forget what you can do with the post. Think of all that you could do with the money you're saving by going with Quickcrete.
Yeah, so with Quickcrete, about $6.99, and you got yourself some quality concrete that's going to be quickly hardened.
$6.99 and it'll hold fine.
And if you get it at Menards, I'm sure there's an 11% rebate. But anyway, back to Kingdom Hearts 1, because that's not Quickcrete. That's a long, drawn-out game that you don't want to dry quick. It doesn't dry quick.
No, it doesn't. So the story of Kingdom Hearts, I think we should start with the legend of Kingdom Hearts, how Kingdom Hearts came to be. So if you remember being in high school, there were commercials for Kingdom Hearts on TV, and they were like, hey, it's Final Fantasy and Disney, and they're hanging out together, and you're like, it just didn't seem like just seemed kind of weird. So what it was legend has it that at the Squaresoft headquarters, but this was still back at Squaresoft, there was no Squeenix yet. The Square Enix merger hadn't happened yet.
It always bothers me when somebody says Squeenix. I heard that for the first time just a couple weeks ago. Somebody referred to it as Squeenix.
It makes so much sense.
I mean,
it makes so much sense.
The words fit together, sure, but anyway, go on.
I mean, is it any different than Quickcrete?
That's a good combination of words.
It holds together well.
It's practical sounding, you know?
Right,
Squeenix sounds like, a pig died, but whatever.
So anyway, back at the Squaresoft headquarters, a couple guys were talking, and they were just like, hey, you know what a really cool game was? Super Mario 64. I'm like, yeah, that was a cool game. They're like, man, I wish Squaresoft could come up with a platformer like that. And then someone in the back just went, and then there was a, and they turned around and they realized that that horrible gravelly scratching sound, that was the sound of Tetsuya Nomura's balls scraping together as he stood up, because he had the bold statement of, I can make that game. I guarantee I can make a game that's that great. And they were like, well, no, you'd have to have something really popular, like characters that are really popular. That's how Mario gets so successful. He's super popular. And they'd be like, you need Disney characters for that. So they just sort of left, and Tetsuya Nomura just started drawing whatever he was drawing, because he was a character designer for the Final Fantasy series. And so one of the guys that was just talking about the game, at this time in Japan, Squaresoft shared their building with Disney. So Disney Japan. So there was a Disney Japan exec. He was sitting in the elevator, and they just got to talk, and he was like, hey, I had this weird idea for a Disney video game. And the guy was like, "Oh, really?" And they talked and talked, and it eventually got all the way to Bob Iger, the Disney guy. I don't know exactly what his title is.
He's actually the CEO.
Oh, okay. So the CEO of Disney, that's a huge deal. And they just laid down surprisingly enough, Kingdom Hearts actually came out with very few rules. They just had to do the characters had to act like they do in the movies.
Well, and if I listened correctly on one actually a podcast I listened to, they could only use Mickey for one scene, right?
Correct. Mickey Mouse could only appear in one scene. That was a stipulation. But Disney gave them access to all the official voice actors. Interestingly enough, I can't remember her name right now, but the girl that does Ariel's voice has been doing it literally for 30 years. Every single time Ariel's ever been on screen, it's been the same voice actor. That's huge. But anyway, so that's kind of how this all started. So anyway, they give it all to Tetsuya Nomura. He's director. He's got final say. This is the first game he's ever directed. And it went on to become one of the 10 best-selling games of the PlayStation 2. Which, as we covered in another podcast, that's incredible. There was thousands of games released for the PS2. So to be one of the top 10 best-selling ones, that's a hell of a feat.
Yeah.
So, continuing on, we get into the meat of the story, okay? So, you pick up this game, you see Final Fantasy people, you see this weird anime kid, you see the Disney characters, but no one really knows what it's about back in 2002. But I just want to point out that earlier, Don was blowing out his Xbox, his old Xbox, literally blowing into it, and now he's literally sweeping the innards off to the side. It was a hell of a thing, the cartridge thing, right?
Right.
I've never seen someone pick up a whole ass. It's a comically large system.
Well, dust is always the enemy.
Oh yeah, because there's enemies in Kingdom Hearts called the Dusks. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know that, but
they're not always the enemy. They're the enemy in 2 onward. But
Right.
You know what? You tried.
Hey,
You tried.
Well, dust is the enemy in IT.
Oh, is that
Like in computers, you blow them out. Yeah.
Oh
Anyway.
yeah.
Anyway.
So you put the game in, starting, and you get into it, and apparently we're following a kid named Sora that's having a really weird dream. He's falling through stained glass. There's darkness everywhere. He's fighting these weird creatures he doesn't know.
So not to disrupt you, but is this following typical Final Fantasy rules in that it's a separate universe and a separate story?
Yes, this is not connected to the other Final Fantasies at all, other than characters are appearing here, but none of these characters are from a Final Fantasy world. They're from worlds within Kingdom Hearts.
With the exception of Cloud.
No, with Cloud even. They're repurposed characters.
Oh, okay.
Yep, they're completely repurposed for Kingdom Hearts. So we get into it. He's falling through stained glass. He's doing all sorts of weird things. No one really knows what's going on. You have to pick a sword, a staff, or a shield. No one really tells you why, but you have to pick those. Then you have to get rid of one, and you still don't know why. So we go through all that, and we get to the island. And there's this island. It's a beautiful little island, kind of Final Fantasy X kind of vibes from it. And there's 2 Final Fantasy X characters and a Final Fantasy VIII character. Selphie from Final Fantasy VIII, Waka and Tidus from Final Fantasy X. And they're just asking you these really weird questions like, what do you value most in life? And your answer could be like friendship or power. And you just answer all these weird questions. And depending on how you answer, it says, oh, you're leaving at morning. Oh, you're leaving at midday. Oh, you're leaving at noon.
So there's no significance to them being in other games.
No, the other games.
Like if you didn't play 8 or 10, you wouldn't really know anything about it.
You have a hint as to their personality.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they're completely repurposed. Tetsuya Nomura would later reveal that the Final Fantasy characters were in there just to draw in hardcore gamers, because the 16-year-old at GameStop's not going to buy this game because Mickey Mouse is in it.
Right.
So that was his concern.
Sure.
But now the 32-year-old can't wait to play the game because Mickey Mouse.
No, you're right. You're right.
So
when I was because you were working the night that Kingdom Hearts 3 came out.
Oh yeah, this is a great
and
story.
I legitimately when I offered to go get in line for you. The thing I thought was I'm going to be there and I'm going to be the oldest guy. And nope.
Nope.
No,
Nope.
not at all. In fact, with the exception of like a handful of high school kids, I was probably one of the younger ones there.
Yeah, we just did. I mean, it's just Kingdom Hearts really proves something I've always said about video games. The only actual metric you can measure a video game by is it fun?
Sure.
Because if it's not fun, why are you playing?
Right.
But if it's fun enough, you'll fall in love with everything else about it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so all these characters, they ask you all these weird questions. You get this weird answer. No one really tells you what it means. You find out later that morning means that you level to 40 quicker, but you'll level the rest of the way slower. Midday means you're going to level normally. Night means you level to 40 slower, but you level after that quicker. So all that happens. That's still part of the dream, turns out. Sora wakes up on the beach. A young woman runs up to him. They're both 14 years old, living on this beautiful beach. The young woman runs up to him. Her name's Kairi, one of Sora's best friends. They talk about building a raft. Another one, Riku, shows up. And you can tell something's weird about Riku because he has silver hair and he has a weird outfit. It's a bit different. They're all weird.
Is he edgy? Like
very edgy.
Okay.
Very edgy.
I actually haven't looked up like what he looks like. So
yeah, Riku's kind of the Sephiroth of the game in the edginess. So,
oh my God, he's got a problem with someone like outside of this group of people. Emotional problems.
Within this group of people, we find out. So anyway, they talk about their raft, and you spend some time on the Destiny Islands. You could level fighting the Final Fantasy X or characters or Selphie. You just sort of have fun. You do these weird mini-game kind of things, like race Riku and stuff, all to build the raft. Sora goes home one night, and before Sora goes home, he goes to a thing called the Secret Place to find something. He's looking for mushrooms for Kairi. He's trying to make food for the trip. And he's got all sorts of cave paintings he's done in there with Kairi. And he's looking at them and he's like, oh, childhood memories. And there's a weird door there that I guess no one's ever even noticed before. And then a robed guy comes in and says, you know nothing, the door will open, blah, blah, blah. And Sora's like, whoa, okay, who are you? And the guy doesn't answer, leaves. The guy mentions that the world will be consumed by darkness. Sora's been told in his dreams up until now that he will be the one to open the door. So anyway, he goes home one night and he's sitting in his room and he notices a storm over the island. He's like, oh God, the raft, I gotta go save it. And he runs out and you hear Sora's mom say, Sora, dinner's ready. Literally the only thing we hear from Sora's mom, she dies 10 minutes later. It's the only thing you mention, and he never talks about his mom.
yeah.
Ever. So
If I remember an earlier conversation we had about this, they just say, do they actually allude that she died, or does it seem like she just left?
no, the world gets destroyed here in a few minutes, but at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, it is restored. So no, Disney did not kill a character's mom like right off the bat. Which actually, now that I just said that wouldn't be that odd. Parents die all the time at Disney. Bambi's mom was shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Disney kind of broke character. She does wind up okay.
Yeah.
Disney's normally all about murdering parents, especially moms.
Oh God.
Disney hates moms.
Get rid of them.
Get rid of them. I'd trade my mother for a thing of Quikrete.
Oh my God.
I would.
That's a wow.
So
anyway,
is your mom going to hold that post up?
hey, well, maybe.
Anyway, so Sora gets over there. There's a storm, and all these weird creatures are showing up.
Right.
These creatures from his dreams, but he can't fight them. You have a wood sword, but it just goes right through them.
Sure.
Run to this island. Get on this island, and Riku's like, hey, isn't this great? Like, there's a way to the other world now. And Sora's like, you're nuts. This isn't great. This sucks. And Riku's like, hey, we may never see our parents again, but this is our chance. Let's go. And Sora's like, no, this isn't how I wanted to go. We don't know where Kairi is. And he's like, Kairi will be okay. And the darkness just consumes Riku. It just takes him. Mm-hmm. And the darkness surrounds Sora, but then it goes away because he has this weird-looking gigantic key in his hand now. And he can fight these Heartless. So he fights these Heartless. The world still gets consumed by darkness. He flies away. Then we cut over to a Disney castle. It's this weird, goofy-looking cartoon castle where Donald Duck is on his way to see the king. And this is where most people playing the game are like, oh, wait, yeah, it's a Disney game. Like,
this
is weird.
Is it the Epcot castle? Is it the Magic Kingdom?
No, it's
not the one that the thing's going over.
No, it's a completely original design. Gotcha. It looks extremely cartoony and weird, whereas the
Gotcha.
Magic Kingdom looks like very picturesque and everything.
Right.
But, so Donald's on his way to see the king. He walks into the main chamber and he's like, "Good morning, Your Majesty." He's not there. Pluto comes out and hands him a note. He's freaking out. He does the Donald Duck thing, and he runs out. And he goes to Goofy. Goofy's in a knight's outfit, sleeping on the castle lawn. Donald comes up to him, wakes him up, and says, "Hey, man, it's serious. I got to talk to you about something." And Goofy's like, "I can't tell nobody?" And he says, "No, nobody." So anyway, turns out Minnie, and Daisy are standing right there. Turns out the king noticed that stars are disappearing from the sky. The king being Mickey. So he got in a gummy ship and started to investigate everything, but didn't tell anyone. Because he's such a good friend, I guess.
Yeah.
He just split, and didn't even tell Minnie, who I think canonically this is the only time that Mickey and Minnie have actually been married. So he didn't even tell his wife; he just split. So what else is he hiding?
Mickey and Minnie were married weren't they married in like the original Disney films?
I don't know.
Well, they shared a house together.
Oh yeah,
They did. Anyway.
And back then.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, they need to find. The note says they need to find the Keyblade wielder, the person with the key. They need to go to Traverse Town and talk to a guy named Leon about it. So neither of them are that excited about it, but they go. On the way to the gummy ship, Donald is explaining to Goofy that they need to protect the world order. When they visit other worlds, that being literally these other Disney movies, they can't mention that they're from other worlds. They can't mention the Keyblade or the Heartless or anything like that.
So they're following time traveling rules.
Time traveling rules, or more accurately, probably the Prime Directive from Star Trek. That's probably the most accurate thing.
Oh, yeah. Which has got to be nuts, because if you really think about that, this is just coming off the top of my head, it would be like the planet's playing a loop.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's really weird, because as they're walking and they're talking about this, like, you could tell, like, like, they're only mentioning this rule because they're going to break it 5,000 fucking times. Yeah. Like, that's the only reason they're mentioning it. Yeah. So they get in. We find out Chip and Dale is the gummy engineers that make the spaceships.
Cute.
And,
Is Jiminy Cricket in it?
Oh, yeah, that's right. So, as they're walking down, Minnie had sent Jiminy Cricket with them to catalog everything. Jiminy is literally your journal in the game.
Oh, yeah.
So he's the one that tracks everything to where you can check up on characters and enemies you fought.
Tell me, to summon him, you have to give a little whistle.
No, you hit start and go to your menu to the journal.
They missed it. They missed it.
Actually, they did. But
if you had a button and you gave a little whistle and he shows up, would that not be awesome?
So Jiminy also explains that his world's been destroyed. So he doesn't know what happened to everyone that was on his world. So they're like, "Oh gosh, it's bad. Let's go." So they get to Traverse Town. Sora wakes up in an alley in Traverse Town. Donald and Goofy are walking, and Pluto gets a scent and runs off. And Goofy's like, "Hey, Donald, do you think?" And then he's not even done talking, and Donald's like, "Hey, what do you know? Shut up!" And walking off because Donald's mean, right?
Yeah.
And Goofy's like, "Oh, what do I know?" And they just keep walking. And there's this comical thing in Traverse Town where they just miss each other like 7 times.
Sure.
Like they're walking through a door, or Sora even at one point, Yuffie from Final Fantasy VII even opens a door real quick to run out.
Yeah. And
Sora's in the room, but it smashes Donald up against the wall.
Okay, that part lost me. How does Yuffie come in?
What it is Aerith from Final Fantasy VII, who's actually been called by her Japanese name in Final Fantasy VII, Aerith, whereas in the localization, yes, in the localization of Final Fantasy VII, she was called Aeris. She was supposed to be Aerith. Don't know why they changed it.
The only reason I know her name is because apparently she dies in Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, spoiler alert, this 23-year-old game, this woman dies.
I'm sorry that I didn't put the spoiler tag at the beginning of
it's new. It's brand new for the Switch, so all these people bought on the Switch are like, God damn it!
What?
It's like $16 on the Switch.
For the person that saw the game in '98 that was like, I'm waiting for the remake.
It ain't even a remake though on the Switch. It's a. Hang on, I had to. Sorry, I know I got away from the mic. Just had to wet my whistle again.
That's all right. Hey, what did you grab?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Adam. It's a crisp, cool, refreshing Busch Light, and it's been iced down in a styrofoam cooler, which, if you ask me, is the best way to enjoy one. Not the only way, because any way that you enjoy, I don't care if it's warm.
Like when you
refreshing.
Like when you age bourbon, it goes into the oak and then it comes back out. Thus, the beer magically does go into the styrofoam, gets a little flavor, pulls it out, puts it back into the can. And, hey, that's how you get a crisper tasting Busch Light.
Except, unlike bourbon, which is only drank by derelicts and horse thieves, Busch Light is a gentleman's drink.
I've only stolen 2 horse in my life.
The plural's horse.
Horses. Grammar.
I really wish the plural was horse.
Yeah.
Like, look at all that horse.
A gaggle.
A murder of horses.
Did you know a group of giraffes is a tower?
Oh, that's so cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
But
thank you, Disney. We learned that at Magic Kingdom.
Oh, you mean Animal Kingdom?
Oh, sorry, Animal Kingdom.
Right.
Yeah. It's next to Magic Kingdom.
So it's very close. It's very close. Magic Kingdom's like the hub, isn't it? And then you go to the other ones from there.
Yeah. Epcot's like the center of it, I think. No.
I feel like Magic Kingdom would be the center.
It makes like a half circle.
Is it a horseshoe?
Yeah, that's good.
I'll find out in September. I'm taking the kids and the wife in September.
Arch, maybe. Anyway, okay.
So anyway, Aerith finds Sora and is explaining things to him. Nope. Aerith finds Goofy and Donald, and Yuffie and Leon, which is actually Squall from Final Fantasy VIII. But if you remember from Final Fantasy VIII, his last name's Leonhardt. Mm-hmm. So he's going by Leon. And he has a very brooding reason why, too. Because when his world was destroyed 9 years ago, he swore he wouldn't go by Squall until it was restored. For some reason.
Well, Squall's not exactly a war name.
It worked for him in Final Fantasy VIII, but
maybe.
So anyway, so now you've got this cast of Final Fantasy characters. You also met Sid from Final Fantasy VII at the accessory shop, and he's a gummy engineer too.
Oh wow!
So which fits his role as kind of that engineering kind of thing. So anyway, you find all about the Heartless. You find out about a guy named Ansem who was a great leader on their world that they came from. But he started researching the darkness in people's hearts, and everything sort of fell apart. They don't really explain why. So anyway, you still got to find the king and Sora's friends. So eventually, Donald Duck, Goofy, and Sora run into each other, and they fight a big boss. And they introduce each other, and Sora says he's looking for Riku and Kairi. Donald and Goofy say they're looking for the king. Sora has the Keyblade. They're supposed to follow the Keyblade wielder. Donald tells him he can come along. Goofy whispers in his ear, "Hey, are you sure?" And Donald's like, the king told us to follow him. Let's just take him along for now. I don't know if we can find his friends or not, but we might as well use him. Because Donald's not exactly a good person in this game, because that's an accurate representation of Donald, right? Like, he's always had anger issues and stuff, so...
He's quackers.
Wasn't there I feel like there was a video game like Donald Duck Going Quackers or something. One of those like billions of NES like licensed games they made.
And it might be. I don't know.
They anyway. So you leave and you go to Wonderland, and you find out someone's after Alice, and they kidnap her for some reason. You don't know why. And also in Wonderland, at one point you just stumble upon a keyhole in the doorknob from Alice in Wonderland. The one that's all sleepy in the room with the drink me.
Yeah.
He yawns and they see a keyhole, and the Keyblade just reacts, and Sora locks the keyhole. So then you go to Olympus, and you find out there's tournaments, and you meet Hercules and Philoctetes. It's really cool. You find out about Hades. You meet Cloud, like Cloud from Final Fantasy VII.
He's in the Hercules planet?
Yes, he's in the Colosseum because Hades hired him to win the tournament so he could kill Hercules. And Hades is promising Cloud a way to Sephiroth because Cloud's looking for Sephiroth. Cloud is extremely brooding, very edgy. Probably 90% of the reason why Hot Topic kids love this game so much from 2003 to 2005. Also, Nightmare Before Christmas is a world in it, so that helped too.
Okay.
But So Cloud, on the promise of finding Sephiroth, has entered these tournaments to kill Hercules. He fights Sora. Hades is like, cool, I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. He'll kill the Keyblade wielder too. He doesn't. Sora whoops his ass. And blah, 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 blah. Sora's like, hey, Cloud, you want a rematch with no dark powers? And Cloud's like, no. It just walks off. But Cloud's costume in Kingdom Hearts is actually the coolest Cloud costume we've ever gotten. It's really neat.
Is it even cooler than the alternate in Smash Ultimate?
That would be the Advent Children costume.
Yeah.
And yes.
Okay, because that one's pretty cool.
Oh, it's very cool. On Smash, I always go through all of them to where he's not got the sleeve, but he's got the ribbon on his left arm.
God.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They
it's crisp and refreshing.
Both at the same time.
Yeah.
So anyway, one thing you discover about Kingdom Hearts is the worlds don't actually affect that much of the story. You just play through a movie in the worlds, or a very abridged version of a movie.
Well, you're trying. I don't know if I really understand why, but you the heartless or the darkness or whatnot has got into those planets somehow, and you're trying to preserve the Disney planet.
And that's what we find out. So we go through all this, and after Deep Jungle, the Tarzan world, you seal the keyhole there, and you go back to Traverse Town because you found a weird gummy that you want to ask someone about.
Yeah.
So you go back to Traverse Town, and you talk to Leon, and Leon's telling you more about the Heartless and how they're seeking the keyholes to these worlds so they can consume it with darkness. That's what happened to the Destiny Islands.
Yeah.
So, Leon goes through all that. He tells you a little bit more about Ansem, and that Ansem had a report. He filed a bunch of reports, and they got scattered all over the worlds when their world was destroyed or consumed by the darkness. So now you've got to find these Ansem reports, as well as seal the keyholes, as well as find the king, as well as find Riku and Kairi. Sora's the only one that cares about finding Riku and Kairi. Anyway, you got to go through... Anyway, Leon says, ask for the block, go ask Sid. He might know. So you go ask Sid. Sid knows, but he's going to take a look at it, get it on your gummy ship, but he wants you to deliver a book in the meantime. So you take this book, you go, and you unlock the secret door, and you go to this house, and it's Merlin from the Sword of the Stone.
Okay.
And Merlin agreed with the king to teach you magic. So he's going to teach you magic and everything, and you meet... and what's really weird, what always weirded me out was he says, oh, by the way, the fairy godmother's here too, and she'll help you on your journey. And you go and talk to her, and the first time you talk to her, she's like, hey, you found this summon stone in a world. Cool. I'll revive it. It's Simba from Lion King. So the Lion King has already been destroyed. The Pride Land's already been destroyed. Simba didn't survive, but his heart was so powerful, he became this stone, and now you can summon him. He's a summon, like from Final Fantasy.
Right.
But then after that, all she ever says is, I sure hope Cinderella's okay, because her world's been destroyed. So she really doesn't help you that much.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, she's got other things on her mind.
You give the book to, oh yeah, she does have other things on her mind. I mean, the fairy godmother's her own woman. It's not always about Cinderella.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
So anyway, you give the book to Merlin, and Merlin's like, oh, these pages have been scattered, because everything's been scattered across these worlds. Also, the collectible in this game is the Dalmatians.
Okay, so there's 101 collectibles?
99. Pongo and Perdita's already in Traverse Town. They're good. You got to collect the 99 puppies.
Right.
So as you in every, it's kind of like the Skulltulas from Ocarina of Time.
Oh my God! Yes.
There's milestones where if you get so many, Pongo and Perdita will give you a gift.
Okay.
As they patiently await for you to maybe return the rest of the children. Like,
do they act worried?
No, you go through the game not finding a single puppy, and they will literally just be hanging out in that house. And the puppies aren't worried about their brothers and sisters either. Like, one literally spends the entire game staring at a television screen after you rescue him. And that's the problem with today's youth, you know? They don't get outside.
Yeah.
They sit in front of a damn TV.
Yeah. They don't have a crisp, refreshing bush light.
They don't sit in one of the most beautiful days we've had this year talking about a Mickey Mouse video game. What's wrong with kids? What's wrong with them?
I don't know.
But, so anyway... You've just been overloaded with information in Traverse Town again, and now you go back to another Disney World. And so as you're doing that, as you're leaving Traverse Town, as you're kind of exploring it, Riku shows up. You found Riku. And he's like, cool, man, like, we go.
Is his outfit different?
Nope. You find Riku, and he's like, hey, Sora, I found you. Great, let's go. And Sora's like, is Kairi with you? And he's like, no, but we'll find her. It's cool. And then Sora's like, hey, come with us instead. We have a rocket ship. And Donald's like, nope, this guy can't come. Don't know him. He can't get on. Sora and Donald argue amongst themselves. At one point, Riku picks up the Keyblade, and every time anyone's ever picked up the Keyblade, it disappears and appears back in Sora's hands.
Yeah.
Doesn't with Riku. It's fine. He throws it back to Sora because he doesn't want it. He has this kind of like cool sword that looks like it's alive, kind of. Like, you know.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I played Dragon Quest XI.
So, anyway, Donald and Sora arguing if Riku can come, and Riku just disappears. So then, when you're back in the house talking to, Leon and the gang, Maleficent is outside, telling Riku, like, look, these are his new friends. He doesn't care about you anymore.
Still my favorite villain.
Maleficent?
Oh, my God.
Oh, if you played Kingdom Hearts, you'd love her. She's deliciously evil in Kingdom Hearts.
She's so poised.
She's not, in my opinion, the most evil Disney villain, though. That would be Prince Hans from Frozen.
Yeah.
Or in the close second is Scar.
Yeah.
Yeah, he killed his brother and blamed his nephew for it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's up there.
And and then tried to murder his nephew.
Yeah.
I've always wondered, why did he try to make it like he was out there alone? Why did he bother with all that? Why didn't he just kill Simba and then say the hyenas did it?
Would have been a shorter movie.
By about 5 minutes, yes.
Yeah.
Can't have it. Can't have that.
No, you really can't. Got to fill that quota.
Got to fill that 80-minute Disney movie.
You do.
So anyway, Riku's like, cool, I'll help you. And the Disney villains are all working in sort of a concert to find 7 princesses. Every world present, the Disney villain from that world, except for Maleficent, whose world isn't present, she's just, the leader because she's absolutely wicked. So they're all kind of meeting, and they want to find 7 princesses to unlock the final door. And they want to find the keyholes to destroy these worlds. That's their goal.
Yeah.
And the best part is Neverland's one of the worlds in this game. So Captain Hook is there. And the boogeyman from Nightmare Before Christmas, Hades, Maleficent, who else is there? Actually, that might be it. And then Captain Hook. And Captain Hook is so out of place and like, even more, they're all cartoony, but he's like, they'll be sitting there and like Hades, he'll say something like, yeah, I'll get Cerberus to kill him, and Maleficent is, like, probably actually could pass as a Final Fantasy villain. She's just a really good villain.
Oh my God, yeah.
And Maleficent's just like, yes, the darkness will consume all. and then out of nowhere, like, yes, and I'll get that pan. Like,
he's at least got his priorities straightened out,
It's so weird. And at one point, so anyway, you get back on the gummy ship and you go to Agrabah, the Aladdin world.
Yeah.
You help Aladdin solve everything, and at this point, it's become very cut and dry. You're going to visit a Disney World, you're going to lock the keyhole, they might kidnap a princess if she's there, and you might get a summon. In this case, when Aladdin frees the genie joins you as a summon, where you can summon him. And then you get a Jafar, you actually seal Jafar in it, that's how you beat him, you seal him in the lamp, in the movie. Yep. So it goes back to the villains, and Maleficent is like, yes, he let the darkness control too much of him. He was consumed by his hatred. And Riku's like, okay, cool. So do I get Kairi or not? And she's like, yes, I'll lead you to Kairi. I'm going to give you the ship. And Riku's like, why are you being so nice to me? What's the catch? And she's like, oh, I love you like a son. And he's like, and I think this is a cool scene because she's like, I love you like a son. I just want to see you happy. And he's like, no, really, why? And he kind of bats her away. And she's like, oh, okay, so that won't work. So I'm just going to remind you, I held up my end of the bargain. You're going to hold up yours. You're going to do as I say. It's just kind of a cool scene because it's like they tried to do this. She tried to do the sweetness.
Right.
That didn't work, so she's just going to put him back in his place.
Right.
Like, I think that's cool. But it kind of fits her character very well, too. Those Angelina Jolie movies made her seem too sympathetic,
Yeah.
She's just a stone cold,
Yeah.
She's just, all about the business.
Yep.
Killing is her business, and
Yep.
business is good, like that Megadeth album,
Yes.
But, so anyway, I said all that to say all this, because, so she's like, I prepared a vessel for you, and it's Captain Hook's pirate ship. So Captain Hook comes out of the shadows, and they're trying their best, God bless him, to make him seem menacing, but he comes out, he's like, this will be no pleasure cruise.
It ain't a carnival.
Nope, you're not gonna have fun with Shmi and Captain Hook.
No.
Like, these are two rough and tumble, salty sea dogs.
Yes.
And we're supposed to buy that.
Quite the Spaniard he is.
Quite the by the way, Peter Pan is probably one of the worst aged movies ever. Like, if you watch it now, it's really bad.
The Robin Williams one. Oh my god. Still
Oh,
one of
Hook.
my favorite. Yeah.
Was Hook a Disney movie?
I don't know.
Hook's a great movie.
But it was good, yeah.
The narrative right now is that it was bad. People are like, that was a bad movie if you go back and look at it.
Give it some years and then they'll be like, hey, it's cool because
Right.
I'm alone in this and that's cool in and of itself. So then it'll become popular again when people
Right.
desire it to
Right.
be cool. So anyway.
So anyway, you hop around a few more worlds and you're doing all this. And you don't find out very much about the central plot from here on out until the very end.
Sure.
And the rest of the Kingdom Hearts games will follow this kind of pattern.
Sure.
Because again, the Disney movies don't really move until I will argue that in Kingdom Hearts 3, which we'll talk about another time. I will argue that in Kingdom Hearts 3, the worlds did place something into the character development of Sora. Mm-hmm. I don't know about the central plot, but it did in character development. Something you hear Kingdom Hearts fans talk a lot about because apparently they all went to college for literature. Yeah. Anyway.
But no, that's kind of true in a lot of RPGs. So
yeah,
you've got those like middle act or whatnot, where you're just kind of rinsing and repeating, and it's more or less to gain either experience or get certain items. But the character, I would argue, almost hasn't gone through any climactic moments that changes them just yet.
Right, and that's and it used to be those big beats, those huge plot change points were at the end. Do you remember when they were at the end of a disc? Do you remember that? It was like each disc was an act in the story.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. The best illustration of that is Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah.
Well, more on that later.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you're doing all this, and you finally get to the last world, Hollow Bastion. It was once Radiant Garden. This is where Leon and Cloud and all them are from. It's where Ansem's from. And you're finding out in Ansem's reports that you're getting every time you beat a boss because apparently the bosses found these pages.
Yeah. Looky here.
And I'm a bit remiss. I forgot to mention the book that you handed to Merlin that Sid had repaired was Winnie the Pooh.
Oh,
so that's how you get to the 100-acre wood. That is an optional keyhole. You could beat the game without sealing that world's keyhole.
Wow.
So
fitting because Eeyore's there.
Right. And Eeyore actually isn't in the 100-acre wood is the only world that appears in all three games.
Yeah.
Nope, take that back. Olympus does too. But it's one of the only ones, and Eeyore isn't in 3. I wonder if Nomura just was like, you know what, this guy's really bumming me.
I know.
Like, I just don't want him around. I don't know why anyone keeps him around. Everyone else there is cool.
Yeah.
Like, everyone else wants to have a good time.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with Eeyore?
Why is that not a meme on... Is that a huge... Like...
No, there's a huge meme right now that Eeyore's great because it shows us that... And it is in such a way because it shows kids that, you know, if you have a friend that's depressed, it's not really important that you make them feel better. It's just important that you make them feel included.
Right.
So that's kind of the narrative with Eeyore right now.
Gotcha.
And then there's another thing that says that each character in Winnie the Pooh represents a different mental illness, which is ridiculous. The original author 100 years ago did not intend that. It's kind of weird how they all fit though. Like Rabbit's like obsessive compulsive.
Yeah.
I can't remember what Pooh is.
You probably just picked out traits in kids.
Addict maybe on
Yeah.
Pooh. Addict because honey.
Yeah.
And it destroys lives.
Oh my god.
We've seen it a lot in this town.
I have personally had a struggle with honey.
Braxton likes my son likes peanut butter and honey sandwiches.
So is my dad.
Really?
Yeah. For breakfast, he'll do that a lot, actually.
So he's a man in his 60s, and my son is a child that just turned 9. That's crazy. That generational gap. That's crazy.
Yeah, they would enjoy breakfast together.
Yes. They probably wouldn't know what to talk about though.
No.
No,
Not at all.
No. Braxton does not like golf.
No. And Dad doesn't like Fortnite. So, what are you going to do?
That's a brick wall. That's a brick wall.
It really is.
So anyway, you get to Hollow Bastion. You fight through it. And you get to the very end, and you see Riku, and he's got Kairi, and he's got all these other princesses, and he's about to open the door, and he's like, oh, by the way, Kairi's the last princess we needed. She's a princess of heart. Her heart is pure light. No darkness within. Sora's like, I don't care about all that. I'm taking Kairi home. Blah, blah, blah.
Is she an established Disney princess?
Interesting fact, everything in Kingdom Hearts is owned by Disney. Square Enix doesn't own any of these properties. That's why all the Final Fantasy characters look different than the original games, because these versions of those characters are owned by Disney. So Kairi, being an original creation for Kingdom Hearts, yes, she's 100% owned by. She is a Disney princess.
Does Disney put that in there?
Disney has progressively become more aggressive about Kingdom Hearts. So in the beginning, it was just sort of like, hey, we put out this video game that's kind of cool. We'll put out a couple commercials. They planned a TV series on Disney XD, but that was scrapped. So they've been kind of fine. But Kingdom Hearts 3, Disney's become super aggressive. You see commercials all the time for it. The Disney Emoji Blitz game has Kingdom Hearts characters in it. They made a deal with the Ad Council of America to do anti-bullying ads. I have a picture saved on my phone. I saw a billboard on my way to work that's Sora, and he's saying, "Don't hit kids."
Well, what's interesting about that is that with the Star Wars trailer that released, they I can't remember who said it off of Disney, but they are going to start focusing a lot on miniseries and TV.
Yes.
That would be cool if they did that with Kingdom Hearts and then adopted her alongside the other big name Disney princess.
Oh, absolutely. I really hope that Disney Plus gives us a Kingdom Hearts series. I mean, The Simpsons is going to be on Disney Plus. For God's sakes.
It is?
They just announced it the other night.
Wow.
The Simpsons even did a little clip where they're in their front lawn and Homer's like, everyone act happy that Disney owns us now. And he's got like he's forcing everyone to wear the Mickey ears, and he's got like a statue of Bob Iger.
At least they're staying in character.
Right. They're saying, I mean, they're absolutely poking fun of it. But yes, The Simpsons is a property of 20th Century Fox, which is now a property of Disney.
Wow.
So, and the thing is, everyone's upset like, oh, Disney's going to ruin The Simpsons. I don't care. If I go watch season 4 anytime on Disney Plus, that's what season 4, by the way, is the greatest season that Simpsons ever did.
Wow. Easily.
So, there is no Simpsons world in Kingdom Hearts, though. So, oh my God, but what if there is? Not yet. But, so that Keyblade would be incredible.
Yeah.
I would love to see that Keyblade,
when he gets it, woohoo! Anyway.
Then every time you die in that world, Duff!
Yeah.
You collect Duff beers.
Yeah.
That's your So,
oh God.
Anyway, it turns out Riku hasn't just been going along with a lot of bush lights, people. Yes. Maleficent. He's literally been possessed by this Ansem guy we've heard so much about.
Yeah.
So anyway, you fight Ansem Riku. You defeat him. Riku is like nowhere to be seen. Ansem's nowhere to be seen, but Kairi's there. But Kairi, her heart's locked. You can't talk to her. She's in a coma. Mm-hmm. And Sora realizes that Riku said that his Keyblade can unlock hearts. Hmm. So it turns out that Kairi's heart is locked in Sora's heart because she's comatose. So her heart's locked there. Sora kills himself, basically. He takes Riku's Keyblade and unlocks his heart, killing himself. The darkness in his heart's released. It, of course, becomes a Heartless because that's how Heartless are formed. Kairi's restored. She runs away with Donald and Goofy. Which
that part is kind of unique to that character, right? Like, it doesn't work for just anyone like that.
Right. It's kind of unique to her. I also didn't mention my favorite scene in the game. I can't believe I skipped over it. When you first get to the world, Sora loses his Keyblade to Riku. And when you first get to Hollow Bastion, Donald and Goofy are like, well, we got to follow the Keyblade World. It's the King's orders. Sorry about your luck. Goofy's really sad about it. But Donald's like, hey, sorry about your luck. Because Donald and Sora, although they show that they care about each other, always go back and forth.
Yeah. Does he give a gorge?
No, not yet. But he does several other points in the game. Yeah. So you get to your first confrontation with Riku, and Riku's about to shoot Sora with magic, and Sora's like, you know what, I don't care, like, my friends are my strength, blah, blah, blah. He gives this big speech, and you just think that you don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. And he shoots, and out of nowhere, there's a flash of light, and there's this Dragon Ball Z moment where, like, when everything clears up, Goofy's standing in front of you with the shield, and Goofy's like, well, gosh, I reckon I do like Sora, and even if it's the King's orders, I'm going to have to go against him. Sorry, Donald, tell the King I can't come along. And Donald's like, oh, you'll tell him yourself when we meet him. And Donald runs over, and there's this big moment of like, oh, we really do love each other.
Yeah.
And so that was all before that. Yeah, it's but like seriously, the scene with Goofy using the shield, that's like one of the hardest scenes in games ever. Like Goofy's just like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna let my boy die.
Is the flash of light and then like dramatic pose
Of
like,
Goofy,
That's so Japan.
but it's so good. It's so
Yeah.
good. Anyway, so Donald, Goofy, and Kyrie are running away. They get into this room, and finally this Heartless that you've been playing as, because Sora turns into a shadow, which is the weakest form of Heartless, but also the most recognizable. If you go to buy a Heartless plushie, you're probably going to find a shadow. You run up to Kyrie, and Kyrie's heart is so in tune that she recognizes this as Sora's Heartless, hugs it, restores Sora. Just because her heart's pure light, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't really get explained. It's the love in her heart, basically, that brings him back. So anyway, you get Kyrie back to Traverse Town. Like, you stay here, and she gives you a charm that gives you my favorite Keyblade in the game, the Oath Keeper.
Yeah.
So anyway, you go back to Hollow Bastion, and in probably one of the most annoying parts of the game, you have to go all the way back to the end. That's where the door is. That's where you fight the real Ansem. So you're fighting the real Ansem. In true Final Fantasy fashion, he goes through like 3 forms. And you fight one on like the ruins of like Destiny Islands. One is a gigantic spaceship that has his upper body posed on it. Pure Final Fantasy. Anyway, you beat him, and he's finally reaching for the door to Kingdom Hearts. What he believes is Kingdom Hearts. And he says, Kingdom Hearts, give me the darkness within you. Because he genuinely believes the true form of the heart is darkness.
Yeah.
And that's what's in Kingdom Hearts. And Sora says, no, I know now that Kingdom Hearts has light. Ansem opens the door, he's consumed by the light. Dies. On the other side of that door is the realm of darkness. So Ansem was kind of right about what he believed Kingdom Hearts was. So on the other side of this door, you see Riku, and Riku's helping you to close the door to seal the realm of darkness. And Riku's like, but the problem is you have the Keyblade, and we have to lock the door from each side. So I don't know what we're going to do. Mickey Mouse hops up in the realm of darkness, holds up a Keyblade that is it's like the color opposite of Sora's. And he's like, hey, Sora, let's seal this door. And they're like, it's the king, but now we got to seal him forever in darkness. Yeah. So they close the door, they lock the door, and then the worlds start forming again, all the worlds that were destroyed by darkness.
Yeah.
Sora sees Kyrie go back to the Destiny Islands, but Sora doesn't go. So Sora, I just made a motion like people could see me. We're recording a podcast. I held up my arms and did the shrug thing. So Sora gets swept away, and the last thing we see in Kingdom Hearts 1 is Donald, Goofy, and Sora walking down this winding road, wondering where the king could be. They gotta find the king still. Kyrie's safe on Destiny Islands. They gotta find the king and Riku now. The worlds are safe, and then they see Pluto run off in the distance, and they chase after him. That's Kingdom Hearts 1 in a nutshell.
Which is so easier to follow whenever you explain it like that. Because I feel like people too often try and explain all of the magical things that are happening in there and not really just focusing on the story. Okay, yeah, he was able to turn Kyrie back by putting the Keyblade in his own heart when you can't really do that for everybody. They're trying to make sense of that.
Right, which, I mean, that's a thing. Like, you want to do that. That's fun to do, but, like, what I wanted to do here is just give a super condensed kind of, the Cliff Notes. Like, if you were if you're in literature class in college and you had to take a test over Kingdom Hearts,
right? This
would be what you would study, but you'd still fail because they'd ask those super specific questions. Because,
nonetheless, still a good synopsis. I can't wait to actually hear more about Kingdom Hearts 2. So. I can't wait. Stay tuned for our next podcast because that's really what I want to find out more is how the story really progresses through that and leading up to Kingdom Hearts 3 after we get through the other games of course. Well, we're coming up actually about 50 minutes here, so we're not too bad on time this time around. But anyway, if you like what you hear. make sure to tune in for more episodes. We're going to try and do these at least have one up a week. And if you want us to keep doing it, support
Smash
us on.
that like button.
Oh my God! No, that's a good way to get everyone to run. Support us on Patreon. Check out Donaram.com, and yeah, we'll have more stuff up. And stay tuned for more on this Kingdom Hearts, and we'll definitely be doing some other game lore reviews and all those other things that are fun to talk about. Anyway, thanks, Beau.